I'm Kane Burke, a member of the platform marketing team at Salesforce, and I'm joined by Adam Torman, and we're continuing our discussion around event monitoring. So Adam, let's dive into the details. How does event monitoring work?
Kane, I'm really glad you asked that question. Normally when we think about data within Salesforce, we think about objects which are really just tables in the database, objects that contain information about accounts or leads or contacts. And when we talk about events, we're really talking about all the things that happen around that data, right? For an account, it might be when they clicked into the account, or it might be when they clicked into a report to view the account, or a Visualforce page that does something highly custom, or they look at it on their mobile device. All these different user interactions that happen behind the scenes, we can track within the application logs. And event monitoring really just takes that information and makes it available to our customers.
Adam, you've described the fact that we're capturing a lot of event information for these customers. How do we then deliver it to them so that they can use it?
So 2 years ago, when we started this process, we talked with a lot of customers about how they're doing logging and what they would do with these events. And what we heard from them was it wasn't enough to put this into setup and have a checkbox and do all these configurations. They want flexibility. They want the freedom to be able to take this event data at scale and slice and dice it any way they saw fit. So we focused on the flexibility that comes with being an API-first feature. And we built a robust API around this that enables customers to easily download and integrate millions of events with whatever third-party or visualization platform they may already have in place. So whether they're using a Splunk or a New Relic or Salesforce Analytics Wave, all of these give them the option, if we just simply gave them an API that gave them all those millions of events for them to do with as they need. So it really is about capturing a massive amount of data, being able to analyze it so that they can derive insights and take action.
Well, Adam, you've talked to us about all the data that we capture and the way that our customers can use and visualize that data, but let's talk a bit about use cases. If I'm a customer, for example, in a DevOps organization, and I have access to this event monitoring data, what possibilities does that open up for me?
You know, it's really about changing the conversation. We have incredible tools for developers to debug, whether it be the Force.com IDE or the console or the debug logs. But the problem is that development never happens in production. And if I'm in developer operations, I really want to understand what's happening in production. I want to understand where pages are slow or maybe failing, what classes need to be fixed or simply optimized. And we want to change that conversation between developer operations and the programmers who actually develop the code. And to do that, that starts with event monitoring, where I have the ability to take this data and slice and dice it, understand in production where my pages are successful, where my classes need to be fixed. It fundamentally changes the conversation between operations and bridges our developers to a more successful implementation.
Well, that makes a lot of sense at the developer level. As you move strategically up the chain, say to a CIO level, what types of capabilities do they gain as a result of having access to this information from event monitoring?
Sure. The CIOs I talk with often really want to know about adoption. They want to understand how people are using the applications that they build. They want to know why people aren't using the applications that they built. What applications should potentially be sunsetted? What are the things that they need to do to make applications that they're building on the Salesforce platform more successful? Again, it's about changing the conversation. It's really about the C-level, the CIO being able to talk with the C-suite about the applications and the success and the steps they're taking to ensure the adoption of the platform.
So Adam, another group that you've touched on a few times as we talked about the data that we're generating and ways to visualize it is security. And you've talked about security and compliance. Can you give us more insight on the use case for a security or compliance officer?
It's really about reducing risk and being able to take the appropriate action when you suspect that data maybe isn't being used for its intended purposes. As an example, one of my customers came to me at Dreamforce and said, I suspect that this rep who left our company to go to a competitor took information with them that has given the competitor an unfair advantage. And what we really want to do is understand what that data was that they took with them to the competitor. With event monitoring, they have that ability to understand when data leaves the platform and who actually did it and how they did it, thereby really reducing the risk to the organization.
Adam, thanks for sharing so much helpful information about event monitoring. I know that you've prepared a demo for us, which we're going to go through together in the next segment. But before we do that, if you have any additional questions about event monitoring, please reach out to your account executive.